Then I think we're married.
Let's get you in center frame here. I always do this when I can actually just do this. There you go. How's that?
Is that okay?
Yeah, you look good. You got Peggy in the background. Mm-hmm. You look thrilled, Mike.
I am just happy to be here. Travis,
what?
When I get here way early...
Because you're trying to get away from something else?
Probably, but you can leave me sitting out there until you're ready. I don't have to, you know what I mean?
No, you're fine.
Most time, I have no idea what time it is. I just start going at whatever pace ends up. That's why 9-ish means sometime before 10, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the sun's getting... Mike works off the sundial. Oh, it's getting a little late there. I got to get going.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's a friend of mine down in Arizona.
Has he got a condo made of stona?
Probably. But he does morning and afternoon. He doesn't give anybody a time.
He's like the cable guy.
Right.
I'll be there between 8 and noon or 1 and 5.
And I asked him one time, I said, he says, morning is any time before lunch, and afternoon is after that. And he likes going trout fishing. And he says it depends on when the trout are running on how good they're biting. Because, you know, if they're biting good, he's going to stay there and trout fish in the morning.
Sure. Get it all in.
Yep.
Oh, that looks better.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, here we go.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright, and so on. It's a rigorous training dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF 1 accreditation. On this week's show, episode 12 of season 8, wrapping it up here, we're going to talk terminology, we're going to talk about superficial pectoral muscles, and a discussion, the second portion of the art of, or the anatomy of leaning. And if you're not on YouTube right now, now's a great chance to go over to YouTube and like and subscribe, because we have a bunch of pictures about the anatomy of leaning. And over to my far hand side, our very own picture framed individual is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Are you excited, Mike?
I'm always excited.
Go ahead.
Get to hang out with you.
And we're wrapping up season 8. This is episode 12 of season 8.
Right.
And we're going to take a couple weeks off and then come back full-fledged with
I won't be seeing you for a couple weeks.
Well, you can still see me. You can come over and hang out on the front porch and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap it up. And then season 9, we're going to come back bigger. We're going to come back stronger with more interviews, more pictures, more videos, and a whole bunch of new people, interesting people that makes Equine Dynamics what it is today. Now, speaking of interesting people and interesting things, Mike,
right?
You've been working on my horse, Diego.
On your horse, Diego?
Well, not my horse. It's the family horse. It's my wife's horse. And my wife is freaking out. And let me tell you why she's freaking out. She's freaking out because you can't get shoes on them.
He doesn't want to right now.
Well, the thing is, you know, she's got a clinic coming up in 2 weeks, and then after that, another 2 weeks, she's got her very first show of the season. And she came home the other day, and she's like, I said, you know, how'd everything go with Mike and everything doing the shoes? She's like, Diego won't let Mike touch his feet. I said I would not let Mike touch my feet.
You wouldn't? Come on now, Travis.
You tickle him. No. I said, so what is the reason? And she showed me a picture that I guess he had an abscess that just came to surface and it popped, I guess.
Right.
And this is a few weeks back, and you took care of that. But so tell me what's going on with Diego. From my wife's end, you know, the horse is, she's ready to sell the horse. She's ready to move, you know, burn the fields and do all that stuff because the horse is not doing right. So tell me, put me at ease and the listeners out there. And I
can't put you at ease.
And I'll pass this on to my wife as well. Tell me what actually you're dealing with Diego. Now, you've taken his shoes off his back feet,
right?
But he won't let you put the shoes back on.
He don't want to.
So tell me why you can take them off, but you can't put them back on.
Well, remember last round on doing his feet, he had apparently bumped into the arena uprights.
Yes, and took out my wife's knee.
Took out your wife's knee, and he did not want to stand on that right hind at all. And so we ended up going back on him, and he knows he's a lot bigger than the girls at the barn. So if he wants to leave, he just starts walking forward. And they
can't stop him.
He says, I can walk off. I can leave.
So why? I mean, isn't that ground training? Isn't that something that
to do with ground training?
I mean, that's the first thing you do with a horse. Here's a horse. Here's the cross ties. You stand there, and I'm the boss, and you're the student, and you will listen.
Right. And the other thing is on that right hind, and don't know what order, if whatever, but when he did not want to stand on that right hind for me to pick up the left the time before, a few days later he did, but your wife handled him and he respects her. So when I was trimming the foot, there was right in the center of the toe, there's a little drain track. And it probed a little bit, and there was a little bit of a pocket there. So, don't know exactly when that was there. Don't know exactly when it came out. But it was not visible the time before. Was there an underlying abscess in that toe? Was that part of why he didn't want to bear weight on it that day? Or was it just a combination of things?
Now, when's the last time Diego had x-rays? Because I know that she does them. She does them once a year.
It's been a little while.
Okay.
It's been... I'm going to say within the last 4 months anyway.
Okay, so this is something that was post the x-rays. You couldn't see this in the x-rays.
No, this was not in the x-rays, and we couldn't see it. And it's into the sole, and it's walled off, and it's fine. But was that under there when we were messing with him, trying to get his left foot up in the air, and he says, no, I'm not going to pick the left foot up? Was it the SI? Was it the long distal that was sore? Was it what? I don't know. Could that play a part into why he's acting like he is right now? Sure.
He's being a little pistol.
But he decided he don't like it and he don't want to, so he didn't want me mess with his hind legs but so much.
Now, can you drug him or give him some, the old wacky tobacco, let him mellow out so you can do something with him?
I don't carry that kind of tobacco on my truck. I mean, I don't know, if somebody's got some over there, I don't know it, but I don't think so. He was sedated.
By a vet. Was it or the vet prescribes?
The vet, yeah.
Prescribed.
Yeah, I do not carry any sedation.
Yeah, I understand.
That's not my job.
I understand that, but there's been times when I've gone up to like Greenock Farms up here, and hey, I'm here to pick up something for whatever horse that I'm picking something up, and they'll give it to me. The doctor will prescribe it, and I can administer it.
Yeah, and they're worried. They were concerned about giving him too much. The people at the barn, and it was an IM, not an IV. IV hits quicker. It's probably more effective. You give a lot less drugs, but. Yeah, when I went to pick up a hind foot, his head came awake and he started pushing. So they decided, well, we'll put a hand on him. So the two girls at the barn were handling on him. I pick up a foot. He's going right out of the grooming bay. And, he says, I'm bigger than you are and I can walk forward. And that's what's happening.
No one's going to stop me.
Right.
So, and this has been going on for the last, week and a half, 2 weeks now? You've been trying to get these shoes off? Because he's only got shoes on the back hind.
Right, because of his supporting the bone column.
And so now you've taken these shoes off. Are you worried about him losing whatever you've done with those shoes with them being off? Because my wife has ridden them, and he's
stronger in the back end than he was. I was a little concerned about where he was in the pasterns and how much flexion he was getting back there. That's why we did that. And I can put a lot more mechanics under the bone column and support the bone column in different ways with a shoe that you cannot with a bare foot. So we weren't shoeing for the feet, we're shoeing for the bone column and the upper body. So, which is really, if you're putting shoes on a horse, if it's just purely because of the feet, that's not always even a good reason to put a shoe on.
So he doesn't have. Excuse me. So he doesn't have shoes on right now, and like I said, my wife was riding him. She rode today,
right?
And she says that he's sound. He doesn't show any favoritism on anything, and I explained to her basically the knowledge that I've learned by listening to the show over the last 8 seasons. And I said, well, is he doing this? Is he doing, I'm doing the
Well,
check.
we've got much better engagement of the back end than we did before.
But about him not letting him putting weight on that right foot so you can pick up his left foot, I guess is what I'm saying. I said, do you see any of that? She's like, no, I don't see anything. So
He's smart enough. He's tied it to me.
Yeah, you're
the jerk that was doing it to me.
So what if you were to wear a mask next time? Like one of those,
Like a hockey mask?
Or yeah, something like that. Something less intimidating.
I could. Yeah, I could wear a Richard Nixon mask.
Yeah, I will not hurt this horse. All right, guys, we got a big show to get into and lots to talk about. And welcome to the end of season 8. And don't worry, we got a lot more stuff coming up in this episode and coming up next season as well. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to this one. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you have a question for Mike Stine, you can ask him any question that you want. Go over to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says contact us. Fill out that little form. Make sure you put a physical return address, and we'll send you out some magnets, some stickers, a little prize pack, just for saying thank you for listening to us and being a part of the show. And if you're not a fan of YouTube, or if you're not on our YouTube page, this morning, Mike,
you should get on there.
You should get on there right now, because during this show, we're going to have a whole bunch of pictures of the anatomy, part 2, the anatomy of leaning. And Mike's got some pictures, some case studies that he's been doing here on the show. And over to my far hand side, our very own head case is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Season 8, Mike, what do you think?
It is season 8. We're still going.
Yep.
Just starting to get wound up.
And like I said, we got a bunch of people coming in at season 9. Very interesting season 9 coming up. But now's your chance now to go back through the history of all 8 seasons and get caught up. So when we jump into season 9, you'll be up to snuff and you'll be able
to see the transformation of the program.
Exactly. And it's fun to see that transformation. Now, talking terminology. These are vocabulary words that or terminology that your vet might use or Mike Stine might use in your presence. And sometimes Mike's not the best one to define. He'll make up his own words.
Exactly.
Put his own definition to them.
I am from the South.
So this is a way to decipher some of the terminologies that you might hear in the barn from your trainer, from your vet, from your farrier, or from anyone in general that's in your barn. And this week, we're going to talk about the superficial pectoral muscles of a horse. Now, when I think pectoral muscles, in high school, I took, weightlifting class.
Right.
So I'm thinking pectoral muscles, the chest, to get big muscles, you want to sit on the bench press and, put up, 500-600 pounds at a time. Look at me, I'm big and tough. Now, when you say superficial, it's either on the surface or it's not real. Or it's not as...
No, it's real.
It's real, okay.
It's real. It's to the surface.
So when we say superficial pectoral muscles, what do we actually mean rather than just say, hey, look at those pectoral muscles?
The pectoral muscle is the chest, mm-hmm. And the horse is not lifting a bar, but it is lifting the horse. And it ties into the shoulder sling and has some bearing on the positioning of your elbows. Which if they're turned in, turned out, when you got a horse that is one-sided or the barrel's twisted, the pectoral rotates, the muscles rotate or shorten on the one side, and that makes a difference in toed in, toed out, and how much if they're not toed out evenly.
Now, are the pectoral muscles just right there in the front of the horse where you see like that little crack, that little crevice on the front of the horse? Or do the pectoral muscles physically wrap around towards...
Well, they do wrap around, and they do tie, they connect probably in the sternum, and then they wrap around, and they will connect up into the shoulder sling.
Okay.
And they do help with locomotion. They do help with keeping a horse upright, and they do have something to do with body positioning.
The superficial pectoral muscles connect the inner aspect of the humerus bone shaft, the inner surface of the elbow joint, and the upper part of the forearm to the sternum. We defined the sternum last week in talking terminology, so this is just a continuation of that whole entire anatomy of the horse.
Yeah, what you said.
So why are we talking about the superficial part? Why do we need to know about this part of the horse?
Well, this has something to do with the body positioning and the posture of the horse. And, that's going to be the surface part of your chest. And development of the horse as far as evenness or not is a point that you can take a quick look at and see if the horse is developed evenly or not.
Now, a while ago, a couple episodes ago, you were talking about doing that little tap on the horse's chest or whatever, the sternum, to get him to
push up. Yeah.
So is that the muscle that we're working on?
That is part of it. Yes.
Okay.
If they're slit like old mutton with a horse that's kind of squished down between his shoulders versus pushing up, kind of like doing a push up between his shoulder blades.
Is that the only exercise, or is that one of the best exercise to get a horse to improve those chest muscles, or is it something that you can do on a lead line?
That's something. There's a lot of exercises. Putting some miles on the horse does a lot, and you just want the horse to be able to lift up, and if the horse is developed unevenly, there are exercises you can do to work with the weaker side and even the horse out and get the horse where the horse goes in a straight line.
I always worry about, my wife rides dressage. I always worry about when I see the horse, and the joke I made to my wife was, how'd your lesson go? She's like, good. I said, did you go in a circle? And she's like, yeah, I went in a circle this way and I went in a circle this way. So when we have a round pen out there, which
right,
of course is a circle.
You think?
If you were to technically run a horse around going to the clockwise,
right,
he's going to build muscles just on that one side. Am I assuming that correctly?
To a point, yes.
Okay, so physically, if you go 20 times around this way, you want to go 20 times around the other way as well.
Right.
To even
or maybe 21. And then
even them out.
Then is he bent into the turn or is he counter bent?
I don't know. I think we're getting on a different topic by doing that. But I mean, is that dealing with the sternum as far as him being bent?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yes, you do even out the muscles. But if a horse is working to the left and is counter bent to the right, and then when he's going to the right, he's bent to the right, you're going to have a totally different outcome if you get a horse supple and bent where it can bend equally to the left and equally to the right.
Now, does this roll into our next topic that we're going to take on next break about the anatomy of leaning?
It does.
Okay, so stick around.
I think that's why we're talking about it.
Yes. So we're going to stick around. You're listening to, we'll dive into that when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. If I could get this frog out of my throat.
There's one thing you could do to completely stop that. Just quit breathing.
Yeah.
Just completely. You'll turn blue after a while, and then you'll fall out, and then it won't be a problem.
Every morning at like 3:30, I get up to go to the bathroom, and then I lay in bed. I go, I'm not going to be able to sleep for 2 hours because all this drains. Mm-hmm. And I spend the next 2 hours doing that.
Well, you came to this part of the country from the north. You came out of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pollen's bad here.
Mm.
And my wife wants me to take one
of those
allergy pills. Problem is, then I've got cotton mouth and I snore.
Well, the good thing about that is that is not my problem.
Unless you live next door.
There again, that is not my problem.
All right, you ready?
Can't hear it from my house.
Mm-hmm. Ready? Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Make sure you follow him over on Facebook, and the way you do that is search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on Facebook. I've said this a million times, and I agree with every time I say it. Mike posts a bunch of articles on his Facebook page, and every single one of them is so interesting and so unique to the topics that we talk about here on the show. So make sure you go over there and like him over there. He's not going to take pictures of his birthday cake or the food that he had that day. It's always, all the time on his Facebook page, just continuing the education and the extended knowledge that you need for your equine horse. And you can find out a lot of that information by following him over on Facebook. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing all right, Travis. How are you?
If I can get rid of this frog. In my... It's just sitting right there.
Maybe a gig would work.
Probably. Get a little treble hook down in there.
Yeah, there you go.
So now we're going to discuss... We talked about this, the first section of the anatomy of leaning. a couple of weeks back. Now we're going to continue the part 2 of the anatomy of leading. Now this is coming out of the American Farrier's Journal magazine. This is from March of 2024, and this is an article written by Dr. Bennett, Deb Bennett. And so we're talking about the leaning of the horse and the sternum muscle and why all these topics come together. It's because of trying to get the horse, like I was talking about, the horse running around in the round pen,
Right.
doing the weird leaning. Is he turning in? Is he turning out? So tell us more about the anatomy of leaning as it pertains to the superficial pectoral muscles of a horse.
Right. There are plenty of horses out there that chronically lean to one side, or that may be not the way to put it, but we put it that way anyway, right?
Sure.
There's probably better ways to say it, but we did it.
Let the audience decide.
Yes. They'll see. But there are plenty of horses out there that are one-sided. If you've got a horse that is bent, and some of this goes back to how they came out of the womb. Did the mare want them only nursing from one side in one position, and they get into that bending one way only? And they're as we ride them, do we get them straight, and how much does our body interfere with that?
Because I'm right-handed and right-footed. You know, I kick with my right and I punch with my right.
Right.
So, I mean, a horse technically could end up the same way based on our,
Sure.
imperfections.
Exactly. So to get a horse really working like you want for a dressage or any event.
Endurance riding.
Because we worked on horses for the 10 games that was crooked to get them squared up in the back end of show jumping. The event horses need to be very straight and very strong, because at the end of that course, when they're tired, they need to be powered off of both hind legs when they're going over jumps, right?
Yes.
You're just saying that. But you look convincing. But horses are inherently crooked to a degree. Is it a workable degree or not? If you've got a horse that is bent from, say that they're laterally weak, meaning right side, right shoulder. Most horses are either laterally weak or diagonally weak. And if they're laterally weak, a lot of times the weak side will kind of drop and toe out, and the barrel will bow away. If you can start building that weak side up, and the shoulder opens up and the hip squares up, you can get their body straighter. It's just like when we were looking at the horse standing there when the barrel was pooched out to one side more than the other. The horse was bowed. The horse wasn't completely straight. Now, as far as that horse making maneuvers, bending to the left, bending to the right, if the barrel's already pooched out to the left, he's already bent to the right. So bending to the right may be easier. And there again, how strong is he on that side?
Hold on one sec, Mike. That bug's going to get you. You see him flying right there?
You just would have smacked me with a fly swatter.
This thing comes in
I didn't
handy.
even see a bug. You were pretending.
Yeah.
You have got a telescopic fly swatter.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Look,
That is cool.
I can get you across the table there.
Exactly. You probably should use that more often.
I do.
I see a bug on you. Smack. Right?
So there you go.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
All right, what were you saying?
So if your horse is chronically bent to one side and you're asking him to work against the bend, or if you're lunging them and they are bent like that, and the way the body is going to muscle when they're going in one direction, they will be turned into the circle. The other way, they will be counter bent, meaning bent against the circle. And as far as getting the muscling to even out, if they're constantly counter bent, it's not going to even out. And
So what do you do with a horse that's got that bend in it that's not
you or me,
unbendable?
You or me.
Let's say me. Let's say this is my horse. I bought it for $1 or whatever, and it just won't bend out the way I want it to. It's stuck.
You're probably not going to know it.
I won't know it. Well, what about the rider, my wife, who would ride it? She would see it.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
I think your wife would. I've got riders that don't see it, but you're gonna see it in the muscling. You're gonna see it. Did you ever try to shoot an arrow?
shoot an arrow? Yes.
Yes, like out of the bow, like at something.
Right.
Not actually shoot an arrow that's
Like,
sitting there.
like our forefathers.
Like our forefathers. Right. If you've got an arrow that is bowed one way, when you release it, where's it going?
I don't know. In the commercials, it always, if I fire it, it always spins around and gets me in the back.
This is not a Roadrunner cartoon, but yeah.
I meant the cartoons, not the commercials. In the cartoons, I fire it and it would spin around and get me in the butt.
Well, if the coyote shoots, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And you are somewhat like the coyote, I got to say. But if you got a bent arrow, it's not going to travel straight. You're not going to be able to hit your target. If you got a straight arrow, it's going to travel straight.
React better,
much better, a lot easier to aim. Same thing with a horse. Horse needs to be able to, so if a horse is trotting out or walking, a canter itself, part of where a canter comes is bent. Some horses will be able to canter one-sided because they're already bent that way, and be hard for them to get into a slow canter the other way because they're working against their body bend. But getting a horse squared up, you want the horse to be able to work equally as well in both directions. Some horses, we got this maneuver this way really well. A lot of that has to do with how straight the horse is. I've been working back to the Gonzales days with uneven horses for years, and there are some things that you definitely need to pay attention to as a farrier. And some of it is just settling down a pressure point in the hoof. Some of it is, but I have people all the time, the feet don't match exactly. Or you're right, if the body doesn't match exactly, the feet don't match exactly. And some of these horses, if you try to match the feet exactly, you'll make them worse. So you got to pay attention to the individual bone column and what's going on diagonally with the bone columns. Because if the relationships diagonally are to me are more important than left and right from left front to right front. It's that diagonal pair works together to trot on trotting horses.
But they look prettier if they're the same on the front as they're same on the back.
Well, that's why I got shiny stuff to paint on them.
A little pink, a little blue on there.
But, when you start shooting radiographs on some of these feet, you can dress the outside to make them match up. But sometimes when you shoot radiographs on those feet, sometimes the alignment is not the same. And what I need is that internal alignment the same, and learning to really pay attention to some of your external structures and how they relate to what's going on internally make a difference. And you can dress a dorsal wall down hard and make it look that way. You can also destabilize the foot by doing that. So how's that sound?
Good. All right, we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, now's your chance to jump on over at YouTube. If you're not there already watching the show, we got a bunch of pictures of Mike. We're going to continue the talking about the anatomy of leaning part 2, and Mike's got some pictures of a horse that he just recently started working on. So we'll dive into that when we come back. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Ooh, pretty.
That is beautiful.
Let's see if that will do something here. Nope. Why do I have that? Oh, that's for this camera here. I don't have that one hooked up. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Oh, blow that up. Blow that up. And then come back here. Okay, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Now's your chance to jump on over to YouTube. If you're not a fan or you haven't been over there yet, you're not a subscriber yet to the Equine Dynamics over on YouTube, jump on over there. You can see all the stuff that happens here in the studio. You can see me hitting Mike with this expandable fly swatter. He had this little fly flying around him. It was caught on video, so I didn't want it to land in his mouth. So I figured I'd go over there and smack it.
You're just saying that. You're hoping you could knock it in. Yeah.
And the full-length show is not what you see, what you hear on the podcatchers right there. Is just a smaller, condensed version of the actual show. If you want to see the whole entire show in its entirety and all the shenanigans that happens on and off camera in between the breaks and stuff, join us over on YouTube. And not only when you're over there on YouTube, when we play videos or if we have x-rays or pictures or anything like that, you can see them in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you today?
I'm doing well. And as long as you're doing good, I'm not going to hit you with the fly swatter. Before we get started, who do you have here on the table now?
The red can.
Yeah, in the red can. So show that up to the camera there. This is someone that's coming on
next season.
Season 9.
There it is.
So if you want to learn more about them, make sure you join us for season 9 as well.
Zoom in and zoom out.
Yeah. So make sure you join us over at Season 9, and we'll find out or tell you more about this product that's coming on the market.
Equine number one.
Yep.
Equine number one. And if you go to our...
the YouTube page at the very bottom in the description, you can get 10% off. Or if you just go to equine.one, you can get 10% off by just putting Equine Dynamics.
This is an all-natural hoof oil.
When you check out, you can get 10% off putting Equine Dynamics in the checkout screen.
That's right.
So what do you got there?
This is Equine. This is all-natural hoof oil.
Okay.
And I think it's got use a lot of birch bark oil and a few other things. This is their hoof mender, and I have packed this into a rotten foot that we ended up putting some leathers on, and it came out nice and clean. And the people who did the testing are up in Canada are very particular. Our friend that was on the show, Steve McConnell, yes, and I trust what Steve was saying about it, and from what I'm finding, it follows what Steve says.
So they'll be joining us the whole entire Season 9, so make sure you tune in for that as well. Now, speaking of tuning in over on YouTube, we're going to show some pictures of a horse. Now, what's this horse's name? Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
What's his name? Brown? I'm calling him Brown.
Let's call him Brown because
okay.
I can't remember right off.
So we're looking at, let me switch to camera 6 here so we can see Brown. So you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here. What's wrong with Brown?
Brown is, he's a little crooked.
He's looking at the arena over there. He's all, ears are all perked up and he's looking off.
I think his ears are kind of aimed at me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, there's a weirdo back there.
Oh yeah, I can see he's side-eyeing you over there.
Right.
Okay.
But if you look down his back into his withers, look at the development from left to right and behind the withers.
This left side seems to be a little bit higher than the right side. Am I seeing that correctly?
You're correct. All the way from the hip to the top of your shoulder blades, which is right there. See the side up there, and then you kind of see on the other side, there's less development. And if you feel the top of the scapula, it actually sits a little lower. And some of that has to do with angulation of the shoulder joint, because when the shoulder's weaker, it closes in. And he's had a little bit of problems with that right hand.
Now, to me, Mike, if you were just to quickly show me this picture, I would think that the horse is just standing with one leg a little bit further in front of the other.
Well, he is, but his comfortable stand place is not standing up square.
Okay, so this is his comfortable stand place, and with that being said, he is standing crooked.
Right.
Or leaning.
And that's kind of how he likes to work when you watch him move out. So his feet were not ideal. And
now this is a new horse that you just took on.
Yeah, we just took him on, and apparently the driveway going into the barn is asphalt.
Okay.
And one of the first things the owner did was walk the horse down the asphalt so he sounds even, because that was one of the ways to check. And remember, I'm talking about my blind buddy telling him what was going on the horse purely by listening to him. And this lady knows this, and so she walks him down the asphalt first day, said his hoof beats sound even. And on this horse, is just trying to get the feet under control, because the body not being where it should be does have a big bearing on what happens with the feet. And it's going to be a slow development. We're not trying to force him into position or anything else. We're just going to get him where he can go forward.
Now, his mane looks all right.
Right.
It looks like it's just...
Sort of.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, it's on
right there.
Right there. It's kind of funky right there towards the end.
Yeah. And, he's been out rolling in the dirt and all that sort of deal, because that's what we do, right?
That's what horses do. Yeah, I don't.
Well, I do. I don't know what's wrong with you. I roll in the dirt all the time.
All right, and so the next one is, these are the shoes. These are the shoes that were on them, and these are the shoes that you're putting on them. Is that right?
They are. And a couple things I want you to notice.
Okay.
How symmetrical are the shoes. And if you flip these shoes over to where the ground surface is down, that's what's going to line up with the horse, right?
Right.
So the ones that are on the left are actually the right side shoes.
Okay.
Okay. If you look at the widest point of the shoe,
right here,
right there,
right by the DeWalt sign,
right, and you put that about the middle of a foot, okay, then you drop to the shoe but under it, and you look at what's probably the widest part on there, which
About a half inch or an inch higher.
Right. Further back.
Correct.
Okay. Also, the shoe that I put on there has a built-in roll, omnidirectional roll in the toe, meaning the breakover is on the back of the web closer to the inside.
I see it.
So it's a rolled toe shoe, and it kind of rolls around to about the second nail hole. That way the horse can go make lateral maneuvers, and it makes it a little easier for the horse to roll across it. Now, this horse was extremely thin soled. I mean, you could make him flex with your thumbs, and they want to get him into work happy ASAP. So I opted to put some leathers in there and put some soft pack in the leather just to keep him from, he's always sore after having the feet done.
Now, is that the leather that we're looking at here, the Keystone leather?
Keystone leather.
Yep.
Yep. And
what's the hole in the center for?
the hole I drilled in there because I put a soft fill inside the leather.
Okay.
So just got some light leathers on him, or actually those are heavy leathers, the 2X heavies says on there, and it's a number 6, which I always carry number 6 because they cut them down to anybody.
So what are these two dents right here on the original ones?
Those are hand-pulled clips. The shoes I have on him are also clipped. They're factory pre-clipped. I didn't hammer them out. But
oh, I see the clip right there.
right, those are the clips, and to help stabilize the foot.
Now, what's the advantage of the hand-pulled clips and then the factory clips that are on your shoe?
The factory pulled clips cost a little bit more.
I would think that the hand-clipped ones, would fall off like those stupid weights on your tires. You always see them on the side of the road, when they balance your tires.
Well, it's hard to build one that is actually structurally. There are people that do some wonderful clips. The person who did this horse has been doing a lot of forge practice. Back when I was doing the forging contest and all that, I was hand pulling clips because that's what you do. Pull 10,000 of them, you get pretty good at it. At this point in my career, I'm not trying to hand pull every clip that I do. And is the positioning good for this horse? If not, I'll do what I need to do. Right
now, does Brown have shoes on all 4 feet or just the
Brown is shot on all 4 feet?
Okay.
I do not have pictures of the hind shoes.
Okay, so these are the front shoes.
These are the front shoes. The hind shoes, I forged out the toe because those were not a rolled toe, but I forged out that an omnidirectional breakover into the front of them. Did some modification on the lateral side of the shoe just to give some lateral support because of the rotation of the hock, so that he can push forward as opposed to losing energy laterally in the push.
So you shotted the horse.
I shotted the horse.
Is that the correct terminology? Did I say that right?
Well, the owner might not like that because I'd end up getting whooped over that one.
So you put shoes on the horse.
I shoot the horse.
And so
I did not shoot at the horse.
No. So and then Brown went on and did his day.
Won the Olympics.
Right. First place and second place.
Right. And right now we're treating this as a rehab situation. You should teach any horse that they're all rehab situations. And slow pace, not trying to injure him, don't want to overdo him, consistent work. Let's build tendons and ligaments. You can build the muscles faster than you can build the tendons and ligaments.
But with you saying that, Mike, and then you go back to your initial statement of why you were called out there, you said that they wanted this horse as soon as possible back, working and doing all that stuff. Do you think they're going to take the time? I hope they do.
They will. They will. This owner and the trainer involved, they've been good at prepping horses, but they want him. They don't want him having to stand up in a stall and not do anything. They want him doing some work.
Right. Gotcha.
And not gimping around.
So do you know what style of riding or work that this horse is going to be doing?
He is going to do some dressage.
Oh, well, good. Welcome to the family, Brown.
Right. And he's ready to rock and roll. And the owner is ready to get it done.
So when do you go see Brown again?
I will see him in a couple of weeks.
Okay, well, good.
Brown also is getting some regular body work. And boy, that helps my cause out a lot.
I'm sure it does.
If you get things unlocked and things moving, it's easy from the top, which has more of an effect on the ground than people would ever know as far as what's going on with feet. It's a lot easier on my end on keeping things together and helping him out.
All right, we're going to take a quick little break and come back and wrap it up and go over what did we learn today. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Good. Good. All right. What did we learn? Wrap it up.
What did we learn?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
You ready?
Don't stick your finger in a light socket and turn it on.
Don't lick your finger and stick it in the light socket and then turn it on.
Oh, you're supposed to lick it first.
Yeah. Get good contact. Mm-hmm. You ready?
9-volt batteries, if they didn't have things on both one end, they would be put so you could lick them, right?
Did I tell you that the first time, like one of the first couple dates, I say dates, when my wife and I said, okay, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, I had a 9-volt battery. We were doing something, remote control or something. And I said, I think the battery's dead. She's like, well, how do you know? I said, well, you tell me. She's like, how do you tell? I go, well, you put the two things on your tongue, and if it shocks you, it's good. If it doesn't shock you, it's dead. Without even thinking, she stuck it right on it. It was a brand new battery,
and yet she married you anyway.
It lit her up. I'm like, babe, I can't believe you did that. You've never heard of that ever in your life? And she's like, no, I've never heard of that in my whole entire life.
Sometimes you got to do a little learning, don't you?
You got to do a little learning. Oh, she was so mad at me. That battery went right across the room. She was like, oh, shit. I love that, man.
Yeah, you think? Well, right. She is into horses, so,
She's crazy in itself. All right, here we go. Last segment, and we'll wrap it up for season 8. You ready?
Right.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, wrapping up season 8. So now's your chance. If you haven't listened to all the other podcasts, we're going to take a couple weeks off, gather our thoughts. We're going to collect a whole bunch of new people, a whole bunch of new interviews and new videos, new x-rays, a whole bunch of stuff. Get you ready for season 9. So now's your chance to go back and watch all the different videos and stuff over on YouTube. Make sure you follow Mike Stine over on Facebook as well. Now, over on the YouTube video, just to give you a little side note, there's these little bite-sized pieces called shorts over there. They're basically just 1 minute, 1.5 minute segments of the podcast. So if you don't have time to sit there and watch the whole entire podcast and it's an original format, you can go over there and just catch a couple segments over there. Comment on it because Mike always comments back on you as well. And if it's not Mike, it's probably me going back through there and making sure that everyone gets recognized. And recognizing someone right now in my very far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Travis, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. And don't forget, while you're over on YouTube, in our description of each podcast, you can get your 10% off of the hoof dressing and the hoof mender, some of the products that we're going to be
Equine number 1
displaying on season 9. So more information of that will follow. So what do we learn today, Mike?
Don't stick your finger in a light socket unless you lick it.
Right. Also, talking terminology, the superficial pectoral muscles. Why do we need to know about those muscles?
Well, you kind of need to have a little idea of what it does. And it's one of those points on a horse you can look at and look at development. Is your horse developing evenly or not?
Now, am I wrong to say if a horse's pectoral muscles, and I've seen the front of a horse, and I always go, wow, those muscles look thick. If I see one that's smaller than the other one, is that a sense of concern for me?
Yes, it is a sense of how's your horse developed. And they're showing you weak side, strong side.
Okay. And also the anatomy of leaning, an article from the American Farrier's Journal, written by Deb Bennett, Dr.
Bennett, yes, Dr. Deb Bennett.
And I'm continuing the education as far as the anatomy of leaning and why what does the superficial pectoral muscles play in that role for the leaning of a horse?
Well, what they do is if a horse is twisted or leaning and one side the elbow is pulled in tighter to the body, that side will be towed out more than the other side. And, getting that leg straighter will involve stretching out that pectoral muscle and also what's going on with the development of it.
And the photos of Brown, a horse that Mike just took on here recently. We switched to camera 6 here so we can see it. And this is Brown.
This is Brown, and we're going to cruise on with Brown.
And so you just started with him. So this is, at the ground floor,
Right.
pardon the pun there, as far as getting him better acquainted with a straighter arrow rather than the crooked arrow.
Right. Need Brown going in a straight line, and need to get Brown comfortable and happy and
Healthy.
And when we get Brown where it's really going, the saddle that fits him now is not going to fit, because you're going to have to adjust to fit to a horse that's straight and square.
Have it reflocked.
Reflocked, yes.
All right, guys, on that note, we're going to let you get back to enjoying your ponies. Don't forget, season 9 will be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. What's the date on that? So let me get a date here for everyone who's involved.
Who's on first?
It'll be May 6th. We'll come back on May 6th. So everyone that religiously listens to us every week, you got a 2-week vacation from myself and Mike. Make sure you go back, share it with your friends, get caught up, get followed up on everything, and make sure you like and subscribe over on YouTube. Make sure you follow Mike Stine on Facebook as well. And if you have questions for Mike Stine, the biggest thing is go over to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says contact us. Also, if you'd like Mike Stine to perform a clinic out at your location, or if you'd like the podcast to broadcast out at your location, you can get that information there as well over on the clinic section of the Mike Stine Equine Dynamics website, equinedynamics.com.
Equinamics.
Yeah, right.
Equinedynamics, yes.
And don't forget your 10% off over on the YouTube video. On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
have a good day, Travis. I'm going to miss you.
yeah, we'll see each other.
Have fun with your ponies.
We'll see each other in the next couple of weeks or so.
Right.
My name is Travis, saying see you next season.
Just close your eyes and dream, little pal. Dream of someone.
Hi, Lucky.
Good night, Ned.
Hi, Dusty.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned.